Well, their style, obviously, is one of it. Let's put it this way: it speaks before we ever can. Honestly,
Ooh, that's good. I love
it,
that.
we all, even the ones that say, I don't judge anybody, I'm not judgmental, it is human nature to see somebody and we have a reaction. We have a thought, before they even open their mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying speaks volumes before we ever can. So we may not even have a chance on that business deal, on that date, on, landing that client if they're looking at us going, they look like a tragic mess. Like I don't want them guiding my life or giving me life advice when, they're wrinkled and crinkled and, and they just don't look like they have it together. So that's really important. I think, I really do think that style speaks volumes.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. I am so excited for this next segment. We're continuing our series on the coaches that don't suck. And I was so excited to get to meet Edie O'Brien, and she's here with us today. Hello, Edie. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you, Amanda?
Very good. Very good. Welcome to the show. So, listener, Edie O'Brien is a Texas-based fashion stylist and image consultant with over 15 years of experience, currently serving as the fashion editor for San Antonio Women magazine. Known for her work featured nationally and internationally, Edie brings expertise from roles in fashion editing, modeling, retail, and interior design. Formerly with Texas Lifestyle magazine and represented by the Campbell Agency, she combines her creative flair with a genuine passion for helping clients look and feel their best. Originally from Boston and seasoned by years in LA, Edie has also dedicates herself to community causes, including dog rescue and sponsoring a child in Kenya. Edie, I'm so excited for this conversation. I just loved our first meeting when we got to know each other a little bit better. What what inspires you these days? I mean, like you've got such great experience, and I think it's really powerful experience. A lot of my audience are entrepreneurs and coaches, and I know they think about style and fashion. Like, you've been in this for a while. How do you stay inspired?
Gosh, well, I'm inspired by people. I'm inspired by my clients, right? I'm inspired by authenticity and really helping people express that because I feel that if we're not comfortable in what we're wearing, we can't be comfortable. If we're not comfortable in our own skin and in what we're wearing, that reflects in our business, in our work, in our interactions, no matter what. So I'm really inspired to help people feel comfortable and confident in their own skin and in their own clothing. So my clients inspire me. People inspire me.
Really love this, and I recall this from our previous discussion, that your commitment to this authenticity piece. I know for me, I wished when I was in like earlier phases of my career, I just did my best to blend in. And I know I was wearing all the wrong stuff, but like my goal was also not authentic expression. My goal was to try to shrink into the background somehow and not get noticed, hide my body, things like that. And it took working with a stylist to recognize and sort of have a better appreciation for how beautiful a body can be no matter the size, the shape, and to find that authentic expression and to learn, like, I would wear like lots of grays and lots of blacks, and I'd try to kind of, like, as I said, blend in and not be seen. But it turned out that, like, for me, bolder colors, more jewel tones, things like that did really, really well. So I'm curious, like, if somebody is struggling with that expression piece and they're thinking, maybe some style consultation might be the way to go. Where should somebody start with that?
Well, they should research, a stylist around them, or in today's day and age with virtual styling, really you can just go on the internet and Google, but you should definitely connect with some stylists and get some consultations and really talk to different ones and make sure that the one that you ultimately hire, if you do hire, understands who you are and what you're trying to express. I am very much against just copying the TikToks or the who nots on the internet and what they're doing, because what's working for someone may not be something that works for somebody else. So it's really about connecting with the stylist and telling them who you are and sharing with them who they are, to make sure that, and hearing who the stylist is as well, like get an idea where they come from, what their values are and what they aim to do. It's a personal relationship. I'm a personal stylist. I'm in people's closets, for crying out loud. I'm in some of their most intimate areas. So you really want to make sure that you get somebody who understands who you are and what you want to say stylistically. Like something that you said that stood out to me was, you used to wear a lot of blacks and grays. You are such a vibrant, bright light that, it's like, that is not who you are at all. And I know that just from talking to you the couple of times that I've met you, so.
Yeah, I completely appreciate that. And, something that came up for me as well is the transitions of life, right? Like there was certainly a standard of attire that made sense when I was a corporate employee and I was flying to these, company headquarters, et cetera. And then I changed careers completely. I went the entrepreneurial route. I'm more of a high performance coach and a marketing coach. And part of the whole thing that I'm schlepping is this freedom, right? And
Yes.
So it really did affect my appearance in a lot of ways and was like an exercise of freedom. What would you say are like key moments that someone should like go, wait, I should probably talk to a personal stylist?
I think there are definitely many stages in life, and I know I myself as a stylist and as a 56-year-old woman have had many stages of my style as well. Clearly things like, motherhood, change of career, marriage, divorce, menopause, for those of us who have, entered into this lovely stage. Those are definitely key things, like big changes, right? Graduating college, starting a career, changing a career. Those are definitely times to reach out. But if you don't have any of those aha moments, when you look into your closet and you are completely uninspired and you pull out the same few things because what the heck, they work, I know they go together, and you're uninspired, that's a time to reach out as well, because it means that you've maybe shifted, maybe your style has shifted, and what you're seeing in your closet does not reflect who you are. And like, our energy knows that. I'm all about like energy. Like, people can put things on and it's like, energetically, I know that that's them, and sometimes they just need permission to change.
That's so good. That's so good, because I really agree with what you're saying here too about the energy side of things, because there's definitely been chapters even as an entrepreneur where there wasn't like that outside circumstance necessarily that had shifted, but there was certainly an internal shift. And that internal shift might be because I kind of reached this critical mass of understanding a new concept differently, or maybe I've decided to maybe make a tweak in how I'm showing up, online or things like that are just, it is more of an internal shift. And then it's like you're meeting up with your closet and you're kind of going, it's not the vibe anymore. Maybe I don't even know what the new vibe is, but I know that there has been a shift, and only you really know. Yeah. So what would you say is like some of the top mistakes you see a lot of maybe business owners and people online coaches? What do you see them kind of making in the way of faux pas or mistakes or things that you kind of wish it's like, oh, I wish they just knew this about, fashion and expression?
Yes. Well, first of all, it is personal. It's personal. It's individual. It is, if it works for you and if it is who you are authentically, then that's going to show, that's going to reflect, right? So like, I've had clients say to me, are denim skirts in fashion or in style? I'm like, well, is it your style? Or is this in style? I'm like, well, style and trending are two different things. Like, style is who we are. Yeah, there's different things, like fashion. We use fashion and trends, to develop and to externalize our style, but style is an internal thing, right? So, I think that it's really important for people to understand that fit, that's probably the biggest issue I see out in the world, are people's clothes aren't fitting them correctly, right? And that's also part of the fashion industry's issue, because sizes are just all over the place, but fit is really, really important. You can have in a hugely expensive garment that doesn't fit well and it's going to look sloppy, or you can have a garment that is, a good mid-range, most of us can afford garment that's fit beautifully and it looks gorgeous. So fit is a big thing. Colors, like understanding what colors really, help someone shine and show your best. Again, self-expression, like if you feel uncomfortable in something physically and stylistically, you're going to look uncomfortable, regardless of how good it looks on you. For instance, I could pull off the 50s sort of vintage, the little nipped dress with the waist and the gloves and that whole 50s vibe. I could physically wear that. I would feel like a lobster without a shell. It's just not my personal style. So although I could carry it off and I could look good, it doesn't blend with who I am. So I think a lot of times I see people walking around with just clothes. As opposed to a style, if that makes sense. They're just putting on clothes, maybe kind of like you were back in the day where you sort of wanted to just blend in. Like, I don't want to stand out. And we can still stand out when we're trying to blend in, if that makes sense. We can stand out.
It makes so much sense. And I think that's what I unintentionally actually did, because it would be ill-fitting clothes. It would be, not necessarily a well-matched type of a haircut, or, don't even know what was happening with the makeup, and it was just, I'm sounding a little judgmental here, but what I'm really saying is that there was just such an incongruence with how I wanted to see myself, and also this competing desire to like hide and minimize. And I had to do a lot of work on that. And, a stylist played a huge role in that, actually. You said it earlier, that permission. And it was so fun, to do the shopping and to go try these things on, because, she'd be handing me garments in colors and shapes that materials that I would never have ever done on my own. And sometimes, like, this is the definition of coaching, isn't it? To like offer that perspective and to offer like, here's another way you could do it. And, I didn't have to buy anything I didn't like. I only bought things that, I felt amazing in, right? And I wound up with a wardrobe that really served me for many, many years. I still wear some of those pieces that I did with that stylist. That was a while ago. So, you said something so interesting. You said, style is very different from trends. And you alluded to like style being an inner thing. Do you mind expanding on that?
Well, trends are what they send down the runway multiple times a year. And all trends don't work on every body, or it doesn't work, and it doesn't work in everybody's lifestyle, right? So trends don't fit into every lifestyle. They don't fit into every person's individual expression as to who they are. So I've found, over the years where, well, this was trending and this was in fashion and this was on TikTok and this was the next, thing to have. But if it doesn't fit who they are internally, I don't know how to explain it, but there's just this energy that I get by working with my clients one-on-one, where there's just something shines and something is expressed, energetically, that you can't put the clothes on to get that out. It comes out and the clothes enhance it, if that makes sense. So
I love it.
So
it's kind of like having the TV antennas tuned in just right for our listeners that remember what TV antennas even are.
Yes, I mean, when you're feeling really good in something, you're like, you stand taller, you present a little calmer, you're more confident. That you're not thinking in the back of your head like, am I too much? Am I not enough? Am I dressed appropriately? It's just something that and it. It's like clients can put something on, and I do invite them to try things like you said your former stylist had done for you, that you may not have picked out on your own, because our goal is to help you sort of step out of your comfort zone just a little bit, to maybe introduce you to the you that you don't even know is there at that time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the real power of all of this, and kind of getting back to that whole theme of authentic expression, is that when you know, right? Like when you, I love how you highlighted, like, because you are standing a little taller, because that judgy voice goes away. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I learned is like investing in myself in this way really allowed me to explore more proactively. What do I like? What are my preferences? What are my preferences? Kind of regardless of anybody else's, the trends,
Yes.
what I'm told I'm supposed to like or supposed to do.
Yes.
And I think that is so liberating. It's so freeing to be able to do that. You're actually reminding me of my late grandmother. She always said when she didn't like something, she would say, "It's not my style."
Yes. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it's that
You
alignment
know,
piece.
and it's like if we don't like a shoe, we don't try to change the shoe, we just get a different shoe. And I know that so many times, clients in the past, they've just tried to force themselves into somebody else's, idea of what they should look like or how they should dress or what they should do. And we're always going to be stunted in that way. And I don't know, I'm very passionate about authentic expression, and I don't really like rules. So I don't believe in you should or shouldn't have, or you should or shouldn't wear, quite honestly. I think there's a way to make things work. Now, are there certain things that look better on certain body types than others, certain colors that look better than others? Sure. Does it mean you should or shouldn't? No. There's ways to make things work that feel.
Yeah, it's almost like a starting point, to know those rules and to have those guidance. And I think that was for sure one of the biggest pieces for me about experiencing a stylist was she knew all of those things. And so it relieved me of the burden of having to know what the starting points were.
Yes.
And I'm curious, like when you work with somebody, can you walk me through like, well, what's the process you would take somebody through if they were deciding to work with you either virtually or in person? What would you actually?
Sure. Well, I have a bunch of different programs, and it really depends on where they're at in their life and what it is they're looking to achieve, whether it's for an engagement, a speaking engagement, or like a special event, or if it's a sort of a life overhaul. I have all these different things, but they all start at one, the first place is we need to have a conversation. We need to have a face-to-face. I need to see the human and experience the human that I'm going to, help them express themselves, right? So we start with a consultation, and after we have the consultation, there's a bunch of different questions, qualifying questions that I ask, and I find out which program would best suit them. Our next step is I got to kind of see where they're at to know where to take them, where they're going to go. So we start by delving into the closet. I love the closet audit, like literally going into the closet, looking at what's working, what's not working in their wardrobe, and why. I'm really big on teaching my clients to fish instead of just giving them fish. I want to actually educate them and give them some tools to go out and be able to do it on their own. So we start there. We start with the what's working and what's not working and the education behind it. And I'll tell you, Amanda, a lot of times I have clients that are like, I love this, I've just never worn it, I don't know what to do with it. So it's just a styling issue. Or they don't like a piece, and I'm like, well, why don't you like it? Well, it's long sleeve or it's high neck or whatnot. And we talk about simple alterations that can change the piece. Or sometimes it's not the piece, that it's just how they're styling it. They just don't know how to style it to express themselves. So that's the first step, is sort of the audit. We kind of look at what's working and what's not working. During that process, I'm making a little shopping list of items that I think that they could use to round out the wardrobe that works for their lifestyle and who they are. And so we go shopping, either in person or virtually. I do both. And then the last bit is the styling part, which I always say it's my favorite, but it's not. They're all my favorite, quite honestly. The styling, though, is when I go back to their home and we integrate the pieces that we purchased with the pieces that they already had, and I create as many outfits for them as I possibly can to accomplish whatever it was we were set out to accomplish for that particular contract.
That was actually a really surprising aspect of beginning to work with stylists, because like my back, I'm like chick from the sticks, right? So for me to like go to consult with somebody on style was a big thing. But one of the things that actually surprised me and really appealed to my small town girl roots was that I actually ended up saving so much money because I wasn't buying ill-fitting clothing. I wasn't buying things in the wrong color or the wrong fit. And that combination step, my word, the number of outfits that became possible because I was willing to invest in a few key pieces, that was transformative. I was like, okay, I am sold on the value of this expertise. Not only does it give you the confidence, not only does it give you the rules to start by, we'll say, not live by, but start by, but it also can save you so much in the long run because you end up with so many outfits that you get to enjoy.
I have a few mottos that I use. I have one that, don't buy mistakes or stop buying mistakes, right? It's like, but it was on sale. I'm like, great. They're like, I got it at a good deal. I'm like, great. Have you ever worn it? No. Okay, so it really wasn't a great deal. It was kind of a waste of money if you bought something that was a great deal that you never wore. And then I also have a little motto of it doesn't cost $1 million to look like it. And it doesn't. You don't have to spend. Good. I mean, I've had people say, oh my gosh, you're a stylist. You just go to all the designer stores at Neiman Marcus. I shop wherever the client's budget is. You can look good and styled and well put together from anywhere. It's a matter of putting it together. And authentically expressing yourself. Confidence is the number one shining thing that anybody can wear is confidence. So
love that.
But I also I believe in mixing and matching and the power of a valuable piece to me is a piece that can be used in a wardrobe 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 different ways. That's a valuable piece. And it doesn't mean it's, super expensive. It just means it's valuable.
Yeah, I love that. It's so good. And, it's funny because you're making me think of like the parallels in building a business. I think it's really easy to start spending and feeling like you have to have like all these different bells and whistles and a different software for every single little purpose. And, you got a good deal on it or you got this one good monthly rate on it. And, kind of that death by 1,000 cuts of small decisions instead of just like taking a step back and saying, okay, but what do we really need to accomplish here? All right, let's just do that. Let's be targeted and just do that. And again, it's like that slow down to speed up of understanding your energy, understanding that alignment, and understanding that vision for what you want to actually accomplish. Edie, I love asking this question in this segment. What, in your opinion, helps a coach not to suck? What are 3 things, in fact, that you think are the most important to helping a coach or a stylist not suck?
Well, their style, obviously, is one of it. Let's put it this way. It speaks before we ever can. Honestly.
Ooh, that's good. I love that.
We all, even the ones that say, I don't judge anybody, I'm not judgmental. It is human nature to see somebody and we have a reaction. We have a thought, before they even open their mouth, right? So what we're saying speaks volumes before we ever can. So we may not even have a chance on that business deal, on that date, on, landing that client, if they're looking at us going, they look like a tragic mess. Like, I don't want them guiding my life or giving me life advice when, they're wrinkled and crinkled and, and they just don't look like they have it together. So that's really important. I think, I really do think that style speaks volumes. So that's, yes, for 3 things. I know that.
Yeah. Do you have 2 more?
Oh gosh, confidence. Honestly, like being confident. I kind of grew up a scrapper, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure I can do it and then I'll figure out how to do it, sort of, Right. So having the confidence to do it and being authentic, like under promising and over delivering, like being realistic, I think are 3 things that I think could help coaches not suck. And I think about the coaches that I've hired. I still have coaches. I believe that, I'll always have coaches. I think that, Michael Jordan had a coach, right? The best of the best have coaches. So I think,
so true.
Yeah, I think having the believability and the credibility in whatever it is. Like I always say, like I would not go to a hairstylist whose hair is, crappy, right? I just wouldn't.
Right. Yeah. If it's fried, if they haven't taken that care. Yeah. And it's so funny because I did not do this on purpose, but just this morning I made a story on Instagram and I was a hot mess. But I did it on purpose to illustrate a point. And the point that I was making, and I think it really ties to your second thing, like style wise, I had cute glasses. Nothing else was cute going on. It was a mess because it was in the morning. And my point that I was making at the time was, I'm going to get 50 views of this tip that you can go live without makeup on.
Yes.
Versus the one you didn't do because you're so scared of what everybody thinks of how you look. Right. So in a sense, it was actually a stylistic choice, that it's just like, hey, hot mess express here, because it's more important that you show up than you like sabotage yourself because you're not willing to be authentic in your expression. And yeah, but I do agree with you. Like, I think that people do. I'm actually reading a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. It is dense. But just the gist of it is our brain has these two systems. And system one is like snap judgment. And we need that because otherwise our brains would fry from overload. And I think when we start virtue signaling on system two and we're just saying like, oh, I don't judge people by how they look. You're absolutely right. Like just biologically, yeah, you do. So, if you're making the choice to show up like I did earlier today, with that purpose,
yes.
That's a reflection of style in a sense as well. And, you're making me really think. I'm like, gosh, what kind of pictures do I have on my website and things like that? Or what am I choosing to wear at the next time that I do a speech or even a podcast interview? You're really making me think about that. Also,
I've done things before with no makeup on, literally in a t-shirt that had toothpaste on the front. Like I believe in authenticity, right? I'm not going to use that as my headshot to sell my brand, obviously.
Time
and place, right? So believe me, I am a stylist. I do not walk around dressed to the nines. I live on a horse ranch. I don't go mucking in my, Louboutins. Like that's just not going to happen, right? So, I literally am a realistic stylist, and I do believe that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Time and place. No, I don't think that you have to be literally head to toe done, styled perfectly as if you're on the runway every minute of every day. And there are people that are, and that's fine if that's true to them and that's authentic to who they are. Great. But who's authentic to me on my days off? Often you'll find me in like looks like a janitor's onesie outfit because I'm working out in the yard or I'm working out, right. That kind of a thing. So I think that's really important. I think that's an important point that you brought up because I have been online with makeup, without makeup, styled, not styled. When I'm working a photo shoot, I sometimes, look like, I don't look like the stylist. I look like the help, that has been dragged in because that's realistic for what I'm doing at that time.
I think especially, we're heading into 2025. This episode may actually be released in 2025. I think that the ability for somebody to see the full spectrum of who a person is getting increasingly important. I think you're really keying on to something here that I'm like, dang, this might be some content, because that time and the place of your website, for example, being curated, being polished, it shows that you care. But then the showing up in the PJs on Instagram stories, it's like that's in the moment. That's with the person. And it's real. Exactly. Yes. And I think people just really are craving the truth.
Yes.
Of things more than they ever have. And I think this also really makes a really good case for style consultation as well, because if you are going to be a person who throws on the PJs and like that's authentic to you, wouldn't it be nice if you're wearing PJs that you really enjoy too, right? Yeah. Like, and that just sort of strikes me as being kind of the point, is that energy and that alignment.
Yes, absolutely.
Super.
I just think, I've read all the, women over 40 shouldn't wear this, or they should do this, or you can't do that, or why are they doing this? And I'm a prime example of, I can't tell you how many times I've read women over, I think it was 40, shouldn't wear graphic tees. Well, I'm a big band tee fan. Like I have my About Me picture on my website is a, tank top of I think it's Van Halen or something. So
that's awesome.
Like it's who I am though. It authentically expressed, and I'm comfortable in it, and that's how I feel like me. So I want people to understand when they hire me who they're getting, right? I don't want and my website is obviously curated, it's professional, it's curated, and I show up at clients to work in their closet, sometimes in yoga pants, because I'm getting down, I'm getting dirty, I'm getting in their closet, I'm organizing things. So I'm not going to do that in 6-inch heels. So I think
chiffon's not the choice, right?
Yes. I mean, you said there is a time and place, for it.
Well, perfect. Well, Edie, I have just absolutely enjoyed this conversation. I think we could go on for hours talking about authenticity and alignment and everything. But if anybody wanted to follow you and see more of what you're up to, what's the best way to do that?
My Instagram, which is at Edie Styles with a Z. It's pretty easy. Edie Styles with
Love
a Z.
it. And we'll make sure that we have that in the show notes, dear listener. Yeah, so good. And hey, listener, take a moment and subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and make sure that you leave Edie a 5-star review for this episode because she brought it. She was so authentic and amazing and just so good. And you know what? Go ahead and share this with at least 3 of your friends because they need to hear that style can be so accessible, so fun, so aligning. It can really activate that next level of your confidence. And if you found something inspiring in the episode, just tell your friend what you found was cool and share it with them by your favorite channel. Just grab the link and share. All right. I'm so glad that you came, Edie. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate you having me.
I appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next episode, listener. Have a wonderful day.